evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I know my days of the week. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Everybody excited? Everybody having a good week? I'm having a great day. I have a Mars bar. I love a Mars bar. It's kind of rude to eat a Mars bar in front of all of you. I'm sorry. How are we doing? You guys all good? Everybody having... Mars is D tier. Wow. Snickers on the other hand. I like a Snickers. I like a Snickers bar. I do like a Snickers bar. I like most chocolate, to be fair. The only one I don't really like is Bounty, but I'll still eat it. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're all doing very well. Horrendous echoes? You getting echoes on the stream? You are. It's not accidentally playing out. Hang on. I'm just going to make sure that I don't have the stream open somewhere, because that would be disastrous. No, it doesn't look like it. I'm sorry. Do you have two episodes? Two versions of the stream open, Keith? It might be that's why you're getting echoes. So I can only apologise for that. Payday is S tier. Payday is always S tier. My payday... YouTube doesn't pay me till the end of the month. So I have to wait for like... another 15, 18 days, something like that. Hope you are all doing it. Still waiting for Grombrindle. Grombrindle is primed. But for those of you who are excited for dwarfs of a certain variety, I'll just show you what I've been working on, shall I? Shall I show you? So today, I've been working on this bad boy, if it would just like to focus. So there we go. Been working on this. So we have, we're almost at Warhipster battle ready. As you can see, there's a significant chunk of it that has not got any paint on it yet. And that's because that's the areas where I'm holding the damn thing. So there we go. The frigate is very much on the way. For those of you who are aware, we're doing Project Spearhead at the moment. So part of that is, of course, these three as well. The engine riggers. They are... they're done. I just, need to dry brush the braces. Braces? The bases. And the... Nope. There we go. The Arcanaut Company are also all done. So, there we go. We're getting there very slowly but surely with the frigate. But, yeah. Hopefully we'll get that finished tonight. After the stream. Well, I might do a little bit of it on stream. Is that Stormfiend blue? It certainly is. So on the frigate, what I did is I did 2 layers of thinned down Stormfiend, because there's lots of wide open areas. And I need to shade it with Tyrann blue. But of course I'm filming it, so I can't do it tonight. Unless, of course, we decide to do a little bit of filming later on the stream. But the thing we're going to be talking about first of all today is we're going to be talking about the couple of miniatures that Games Workshop previewed today, which were pretty exciting things. So I'm just going to pull those up now, because, my goodness me, Games Workshop, what are you doing, man? Like, come on. It's It's just not cool. How dare you? So, yeah. There's lots of cool stuff. But before we do that, what I should do is, one, say a very, very big thank you for all of you being here tonight. We have 131 concurrent viewers, which is the most we've had at this point in the evening, which is huge. So thank you so much for being here. You guys are legendary. If you could please, this is the YouTubey bit, right? As a YouTuber, this is my professional responsibility to have to say these things, so I can only apologise. But if you could please leave a like on the stream, you have already smashed 50, which is our usual target for our first target, and we've done that in the first 9 minutes. So if you could please leave a like on the stream, because it is a free way to support the channel. It means more people will discover the stream. YouTube will say, this guy knows what he's doing. Maybe they'll come and subscribe, and they'll make Josh a very happy bunny. However, if you would like to support the channel a little bit further, you can, of course, become a member. If you become a member, it's YouTube memberships, you get access to the crazy, wonderful, amazing Warhipster Discord, and also some other things like early access videos as and when I have them available, and I do like to put them out. I haven't done them quite as regularly as I needed to, but we've got some early access videos next week for you guys. And you get to support the channel. And if you're already a member, you can gift some memberships. And last but not least, you can send a super chat with a question or a statement or a compliment or an insult. Anything you like, really. There we go. The YouTubey section is out of the way. Thank you very much for being legends. You guys are the best. And Asmodeus, right there, has gifted 5 of the finest Warhipster memberships. Thank you very much, Asmodeus. You're an absolute legend. What's the difference between Patreon and YouTube member subscriptions? There's not really any difference. The only difference with Patreon is that there's a much more expensive one at £50 a month. Something like that. Which gets you access to some one-to-one coaching from me, for example. So, yeah, that's the only other difference. I should put another level in on YouTube, but I just haven't had the time. Sludge Raker Beast anytime soon. Currently watching your video and painting the Maya Brute Troggoth. Not in the next couple of weeks, possibly months, but the only thing I can do in place of that for the Cruel Boys is the Beast Skewer Killbow. That video is coming very soon, so it's happening. That one's coming as part of Project Spearhead. Anyway, let's quickly pop over here. Guys, you've already crushed it. We're on 84 likes. We've gone past the first 2 goals of 50 and 69, and we've done it even before 9 o'clock. That is amazing. Can we get to 100 likes on the stream? That would be incredible. But first, witness the arrival of the winged Knight Azyros and the abhorrent Brood Terror. Now, when I first saw the article, I thought this has to be Skaven, but abhorrent. I was like, oh, maybe Flesh Eater Courts are getting a preview for some reason. But no, usually in a Flesh Eater Courts, abhorrent is spelt with an A instead of an E. That's what I realised. It's a small difference. It's incorrect, but it's a small difference. The Hour of Ruin is here, and the Skaventide is coming to drown out all hope in the mortal realms. In the wake of the catastrophic vermin doom, the children of the Great Horned Rat have burst forth in great swarms, renewed malice in their twitchy little hearts. The Stormcast Eternals are on the front lines, preparing for this incoming disaster with the soul-stricken members of the Ruination Chamber, lending what may be their last life to the grueling war effort. There are dozens of new miniatures for both the Skaven and the Stormcast Eternals in the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Skaventide launch box, with many more yet to come in later months. You'll be able to get a look at all of the upcoming miniatures from one side early, depending on who wins the Slaughter at Hellcrown global campaign. But as an early teaser, we've got 2 new miniatures to show you today, the hulking 2-headed Brood Terror and the soaring brilliance of the Knight Azyros, Taunus the Redeemed. This is very exciting stuff. Very, very exciting stuff. So, we won't watch the video because I don't want to get DMCA'd. But the Skaven's insatiable appetite for conquest is backed up by new horrors from the clans Scryer and Moulder. But there are still more verminous innovations furtively lurking just beyond those green-tinted rents in reality, like the towering Brood Terror. Here it is. Look at this thing. It's disgusting. It's horrible. It's hideous. Crimes against nature created in the fetid laboratories of the clans Moulder, these abhorrent colossi are part of a never-ending quest to create ever more cunning abominations. To create a brood terror requires sacrifice, typically unwilling, as is the Skaven way, on the part of a master Moulder, and the gibbering head that still protrudes from the beast's neck is a living vestige of that unlucky donor. Can I just take a moment to just be like, I think my sight reading today is on point? I've not read this out. I've not practiced these lines. These are hard lines to read, man. Star Pilot 94 with 20 gifted memberships. That is incredible. Thank you so very much, Star Pilot 94. You are a legend. Thank you very much. That actually puts us... No, that is completely the wrong thing I just clicked on. That puts us over our target of 408. They've taken away the reply. Oh, yeah, so they have. That's a load of bung. That sucks. Thank you very much, Star Pilot. That is incredible. You are the best. If you've got a membership, make sure you do join the Discord and say thank you to Star Pilot for being an absolute legend. The Brood Terror. Here it is. Crime. We've already read that. There's the other sides of it. So we got more angles on this one. So what I'm kind of thinking, I don't know about you guys. I don't know how you're kind of feeling about this from what I'm about to say. But with the contents of Skaventide, what I've kind of talked about in the past is kind of doing tutorials that are specifically for Scryer, Moulder, Moors, Pestilence, Eshin. However, it's all kind of going to be all lumped into one thing. So actually, I think maybe it's probably better to not do that and just kind of do a bunch of different recipes on like the clan rats, but actually tie the specific things of Skaventide into their clan, as it were. So, for example, this guy is from Clan Moulder. So to paint it that way is the Clan Moulder scheme, if you see what I mean. Does that make sense to you guys? Are you guys into that? Am I completely incorrect? Is that stupid? Please do let me know. You guys have already crushed it. 100 likes before we've even reached 9 o'clock. That is incredible. This right here, Warhipster history, most successful stream of all times. When I'm not, when I'm not streaming along with a reveal, or something like that. Does that make sense though? I don't know. Sometimes the Master Moulder's personality survives this grotesque melding, steering the beast towards specimens of interest, but the majority of its brain power goes to helping the brood horror wield all of its weapons in terrifying unison. These ungainly behemoths crush foes with giant rusted flails, blast them with warp flame scourges, and dissect them with horrid flensing knife limbs. But not all hope is lost, and there is light in the darkness. I don't want to show him to you just yet. Oh, you've already seen him. In their efforts to more effectively scour the blight of chaos from the mortal realms, the Ruination Chamber looks to the Knight Azyros, winged warriors that carry the radiant starlight of Azir in their sacred lanterns. Wherever this light falls, it illuminates and incinerates, driving out corruption and allowing Sigmar himself to see the darkest corners of the mortal realms. There it is. This is the Azyros in all its glory. This also answers a question. A question that I've been wondering about how the multi-part release is going to work for for Age of Sigmar, for the Stormcast Eternals, because the lead of Skaventide is the Hallowed Knights. However, the rest of the range, they're all painted in gold, so they're all Hammers of Sigmar. So when the multi-part range comes out, what colour were they going to be in on the box art? Were they going to be in silver? Were they going to be in Hammers of Sigmar? I suspected they were going to be Hammers of Sigmar, because what you don't want, and I think I've talked about this on stream before, but what you don't want is when you go into the shop as a new person for the first time and you see a bunch of them are in gold and a bunch of them are in silver and you think they're not the same army. Do you see what I mean? It's why, like, Space Marine Intercessors are not in red and Assault Intercessors are in green and Hellblasters are in blue and this, that, and the other. They pick a range and they stick to it. So it's going to be interesting to see if they stuck to gold or if it's going to be silver from this point onwards. I think this indicates that it's going to be gold, or at least that's just an option, an optional thing. It might be that it's silver on the front cover, but this is the Knight Azyros. Here it is. I just saw a question: does it have legs? Yes, you can just about see a leg just there. They'll be floating in like a hey type pose. I love the spear. The spear is incredible. It's a Stormstrike glaive, I believe. This kit can also be used to represent Taunus the Redeemed, a legendary Knight Azyros with a long history that began in the early days of the Age of Sigmar. Originally a proud and indomitable warrior from Gyron, he was captured by the servants of the Plague God, who committed him to the Pit of Filth. They trapped him in his disease-ridden oubliette for 77 days and only released him after he agreed to accept Nurgle into his heart. While leading the Maggotkin of Nurgle on a campaign of desecration against his former allies and taking the name Torglug the Despised, he was poised to stand triumphant over a combined Sylvaneth and Stormcast Eternals force before the Celestant Prime purged the corruption from him with Galmaraz and gave him a chance at redemption. So here he is. Here's Taunus the Redeemed, painted in beautiful yellow, hence the thumbnail. Joining the ranks of the Hallowed Knights, Taunus fought long and hard as a Knight Venator. Because for a minute there, when I first looked at this, I was like, hang on, he wasn't he wasn't an Azyros, he was a Venator. Fought long and hard as a Venator to prove his worth to his new allies, and through his tireless efforts has become a Knight Azyros, taking the name Taunus the Redeemed and vowing to continue to spread Sigmar's light and vengeance far and wide across the mortal realms. And there you go, you can see it again in more glory, left and right, from the back and the rear. Now, I don't know if that means that it's going to be called Taunus the Redeemed and then the Azyros is in there, or it's going to be a Knight Azyros and you can paint it silver, and then Taunus the Redeemed also has a war scroll. I don't know that. I don't think that is going to be the case. I don't know. Because they've released things in the past, for example, in Sylvaneth Battletome 1, there was a War Scroll battalion that let you take a Knight Castellant as Loras Grimm to represent this exact story that they're talking about. There wasn't a Loras Grimm model. And there never will be. But, yeah. Oh, you can also see the legs in the later. Yeah, there you go. You can see the legs on the back of the Taunus there. So I don't know if Taunus the Redeemed has actually got rules or whether or not he doesn't have rules. We shall find out. Because it's basically, it looks like it's the same model. It's the same model, just painted a different way. See, you can see it with the helmet there. See it with the helmet there. It looks identical. This is sick though. It's beautiful. I love it. But is Taunus from Plague Garden? Taunus is indeed in Plague Garden. Taunus is one of the main characters in Plague Garden. If you want to read about Taunus's time as Torglug the Despised, read the Realmgate Wars books. The Realmgate Wars books are super good when it comes to when it comes to the Hallowed Knight story. The Hammers of Sigmar ones are a bit boring, but the Hallowed Knight story is really, really, really good in the Realmgate Wars, and that's early Sigmar. So check that out. I think it's the second. Let me just see if I can remember. Loris Grimm Lord Commander model is going to go huge. Marley, it's not possible. It's not possible. Loris Grimm unfortunately met a permanent end. So we go to Black Library and we look up Age of Sigmar and we go to... If I just look up the Realmgate Wars, is that going to show me? I think so. Realmgate Wars. Sort by oldest published date. Yeah, okay. So Warstorm is the first one. Here it is. This one, don't think it does. Oh, it does. So Warstorm, the first one. You don't need to read Gates of Azir. Gates of Azir is the very first book. It's fine. It's about Vandus. It's pretty cool from that perspective. But Warstorm starts with... This is where Gardas of the Hallowed Knight strives to take back the Gates of Dawn. Meanwhile, in a mystical... in the Gaia Tract Fen. So this is where it starts. Book 1, Warstorm. Then in Book 2, Galmaraz, there he is. Loris Grimm, absolute lad. Plague and devastation ravage the mortal realms, but there is hope yet for Sigmar Stormcast Eternals. Are paragons of justice and retribution. In Gyron and the Lord lands of Rotwater Blight, Lord Castellan Grimm fights on, not only to avenge the death of Lord Celestin Gardas. Spoiler, Gardas is fine, don't worry, he's a Stormcast. So yeah, you then read Book 2, Galmaraz. Where is it? Hammers of Sigmar. Does that contain anything? No. Hammers of Sigmar is about the Celestant Prime. So it's worth it if you want to learn about the Celestant Prime. It's alright. Lords of Hellstone and Prisoner of the Black Sun, they are about Hallowed Knights, but they're not about Gardas and Taunus and all that. Call of Archaon's a pretty good book because it's all about chaos, which is great. But then Wardens of the Everqueen is absolutely fantastic. And this is where you spend a lot of time with Torglug and you read the conclusion of Torglug, and it's really good. Basically, the first couple of books are great. I would recommend them. If you want to learn about the Hallowed Knights, they're fantastic. Loris Grimm died on the way back to his home planet. How would you paint those yellow wings? That is a really good question, isn't it? How would I paint those yellow wings? Let's have a look at Taunus the Redeemed, shall we? So I think the thing firstly here on the, so if you look at the, let's see if we can open this image in a new tab. Can we get up close and personal with it? Yes, we can. So you see this whole section here? Basically the vibe there is to pick a yellow paint of your choosing. I would probably veer towards Imperial Fist yellow, and then on this section here, just cover it in white, Corax white specifically, just to bring that right back up. And then you basically want to slowly blend in some like Eandon or Cassandora yellow towards the tip here, so you get this kind of mid yellow, and then here you are highlighting it with white again. Is how I would do it. It's how I will do it when I get my hands on it. Oh, look at him. He's beautiful. He's gorgeous. I'm such a huge fan. Is the prevailing theory that the Celestant Prime is Karl Franz? I remember that being the conversation a while back. It can't really be Karl Franz because Sigmar is Karl Franz. If I get my history correct. Wasn't Karl Franz possessed by Sigmar at the end of End Times? I guess that's the I think that's the body he still occupies. How to paint the wings? I'd use a paintbrush. Yes, Baz. I would use a paintbrush. Others will tell you to use an airbrush. But I would use a paintbrush. But don't worry, when that model comes out, there will be a painting tutorial for it. Don't you worry, my friends. And it might be a completely different recipe to what I've just said. Now, I realise I haven't actually updated my model completion. So I'm just going to do that quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 14, 15, 16, 17. So that would put me on 2. I painted 6 more. So I'm actually on 261. 261 models painted is where I'm actually at. How was it to paint the Caradron bow? I will tell you when I finished it. At the moment, it's been challenging, given as it's taken me all day today and all last night. It was good. Sigmar ended up on YouTube and called himself Warhipster. Yeah, that is what we hope for. We hope one day that people say, you know, it was that guy. It was Mr. the Warhipster. He was Sigmar all along. We have him to thank for pulling us into the most wonderful of new games. We left behind the 41st millennium and we took up the standard in the mortal realms, and everything was good and everything was golden and everything was wonderful, and it's the best time ever. Oh no, we lost a subscriber. That's fun. Clearly that upset somebody. DL, welcome to Battle Hipster. Thank you very much for becoming a member. That is incredibly kind of you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We put us on 409 out of 400, which means we should probably just raise this goal. And I'm going to go for a nice optimistic 450. Can we do it? 41 members. 41 painting members. But yeah, how are you guys feeling about Age of Sigmar at the minute? Because I'm super pumped for it, obviously. I'm very, very excited. Is there anything we can talk about that maybe you're worried about? Maybe I can help answer any questions? Because I'm feverishly keeping myself up to date on not the faction focuses, really. We can look at some faction focuses, but rules-wise, building armies, all this kind of thing. I'm super pumped for that. I'm very excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great next 6 months. So, you know, there's lots and lots of cool stuff. And Age of Sigmar is going to be the best. I saw your video the other day, Paul, is bad at stuff about health. It made me laugh. Because you're not wrong. But I do count my wounds up. I just prefer it. Hello, Chris. You monster. I know. It's just the way I'm wired. I like it. I prefer it in Age of Sigmar. I prefer that way. I like to count the wounds up. It makes me feel more optimistic, that's why. Instead of watching life slowly drain away, I feel like it's powering up until they return to the heavens. Do you see what I mean? I like to count my... he's taken 1, he's taken 2, he's taken 3, he's taken 4. Rather than 10 left, 9 left, 8 left, 7 left, 6 left, 5 left, 1 left. Do you know what I mean? That's why. Skaven skin recipe, asks Niall. So my usual instinct with Skaven is to just do them with flesh colours. So what I've actually done before is I've done a couple of Skaven videos already. We've got Thanquol and Bone Ripper, which is quite an intense one because it's a big, complicated model for Mr. Kataro. He's here, I think. Hopefully, still in the chat. But what we have is we have the Deathmaster here. This one. And in this video, this is how I would do Skaven skin. Because it just works. And quite often they're covered by lots of clothes. So I start in this one by painting in his robe. Using old methods. Rather than just Black Legion. But using Guilliman flesh. And using things like thinned down wildwood. You can just use Agrax Earthshade instead. If that's slightly easier, for example. I'm using thinned down Dark Oath flesh for the Deathmaster, but again, Reichland Flesh Shade would be a decent shout to add a little bit of a more fleshy texture to it. That is a good one for doing Skaven skin. You're only here because Liam is finished. Is Liam finished all over my chat? Liam's finishing all over the Warhipster chat. Hello, Liam. We never did get on Discord, did we today, Liam? Do you want to talk tomorrow? Do you want to talk after my stream tonight? Will you still be awake? At 10:30? 10:45? That kind of time? It was Star Pilot's choice to raid me. Thank you, Star Pilot. Supporting the channel in all ways that matter. And Liam. Even though he was coerced into raiding over here. Tomorrow works at like 4 PM. Joe will be around there too. Yeah, okay. Tomorrow at 4. That works. I'll be editing probably at that time, so that'll be all good. And we shall talk. We shall talk about all the exciting things, like Knight Azyros's and Age of Sigmar. Christopher Sanford, Police Station Gloucester, thank you very much for becoming a member, and Star Pilot has gifted another 10 members. That is incredible. Thank you so much, guys. That puts us on a lovely, lovely number of 420. Way! Let's go, baby. Isn't Liam Dempsey Warhipster's fluffer? No, I'm Liam's fluffer. I'm normally his warm-up act. He's the headline. How would you Storm Fiends like Thanquol and Bone Ripper? Yeah, probably. Didn't realise my gifted had lapsed. It's fine, Christopher Sanford. Police Station Gloucester. Judge, in case you didn't see my last question, I'm painting Krondis's eyes, but I don't have the yellow you use. Can I get away with Imperial Fist, or should I use a darker non-contrast yellow? No, you can get away with Imperial Fist, absolutely. Absolutely you can. I've never been this accurate with sniping. I'm embarrassed now. That's incredible. That is marksmanship level sniping right there. I'd love to see it. I bet Liam hasn't lit the like button. No, Liam will have licked the like button. He always does. I lick all of his like buttons. Is there a way of giving to yourself in Liam that doesn't give Google 30%? I guess you could PayPal us? That would be one way to do it. Sexual favors? Yeah, I mean, that's another way of doing it. Did you paint a huge wedges of cashes in envelopes? Yeah. Or like, in, what would it be? Like in a briefcase, in unmarked bills. Yeah, that's another way of doing it. I do have a PayPal link. You should have one too, Josh. I think I have. How do you get a PayPal link? How do you do that? Do not send cash in the mail. You can send it in a mail. You can send me a mail full of cash. Would you prefer fivers thrown at you or pennies? I think pennies is funnier. So pennies. Hurl it at me in pennies. Viciously. Try and cut me. Go on to PayPal. Okay. I'm on PayPal. Click send/receive money. How does this work? I'm really bad with PayPal. I usually just plunder it. You can show me. Show me your ways. I watch you guys enough to warrant me doing more than a few gifted memberships, but would you rather you spent it all on fast guys and women than get Google having all the fun? I like it. I like it. I like it. I mean, that's very kind of you. Evening, Mr. Warhipster. I see some other content creators have teamed with Colourforge and made their own primer colour. If you were given the chance, what type of primer colour would you have made? Do you know what I would have made? As I would have made a metallic primer that matches Iron Warriors, possibly even slightly darker, like a really heavy dark metal. Like really dark silver, you know, just like to do some proper like industrial terrain and like to do like just like heavy like tanks and stuff like that. It would be perfect for doing like Iron Warriors, for example, or painting your Mechanicum sector Mechanicus sector terrain, or you know, just anything like that. So yeah, probably those. Is probably what I would have chosen, which sounds weird for me being a contrast painter, but is just what I would do, you know. Just because I think that's missing. You get a lot of kind of really good bright silvers, and you get Runelord brass, for example. You get good brass tone. The other one maybe would be a little bit more niche. Would be something that's like the tone of like Warplock bronze / Castellax bronze. Like a really heavy bronzy brassy color. Just dark metallic primers, you know. Talk tomorrow. Love you. Love you too, Liam. Talk to you tomorrow. 4 o'clock. Hello, Leon. I was gifted one on Liam's stream. Thank you, whoever sniped me. Lead Belcher has a spray can. It's not bad. Actually, just use it for parts of a repulsor. Yeah, no. See, I like rune. I like rune or brass. I like Retributor armor, but wouldn't like Balthazar gold in a can be really cool? Do you know what I mean? Like just heavy dark metallics. It would help a lot with like the creating of like what they called like grimdark schemes. Be a little bit easier. I'm a new player and I love your painting tutorials, but I am a bit intimidated by the huge paint list. Is there any way of getting so many paints cheapish, or can I achieve similar effects less paint? Yeah, Ben. I mean, the best thing you can do is like if you look at one of my painting tutorials and you don't want to kind of scale up. I always take it to. I usually put them in two halves. You get the Warhipster Battle Ready, and then you get the next level stage. Just the Warhipster Battle Ready stage is enough. For a lot of people, that's one way of that's a way of making it a lot cheaper, and it still looks pretty good. And then you can just like buy one or two of the metallic of the like highlights that might make it a little bit like make it pop a little bit more. But like if you're brand new, the best way is to do like the first part of it and just get used to the mechanics of painting, and then kind of go up to the next level by doing the highlights when you're ready. Liam always finishes early, I've heard. That's not what I've heard. It's not what I've experienced. Has anyone decanted Colourforge and used it through an airbrush? I have not. Have they really discontinued Rune Brass? Rune Brass spray. That will surprise me if it has been discontinued. Yeah, looks like it has. Well, I can't see it on... where do you see these things these days? On this terrible website. Paints, filters, spray. Yeah, it's not showing up there. Interesting. That's strange. Well, thanks for letting me know that, because it means now if I ever plan to do anything in the future, I can't use Rune or Brass spray, because I've still got some. That's a shame. Oh, that'll be one of the ones I go to the Colourforge for then, I guess. Annoyed a lot of Necron players. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Mr. Bugs asks, good evening, could I have your advice? I have Gordrak and want to dry brush over it. I'm going to prime it black. Any advice, please? How would I paint... Basically, you're asking me how would I paint it normally. If you were to dry brush it up, do you want it to look like the box art, like the green, or do you just want to dry brush like it's a different thing? Is that what you're asking? You want to go to a more grey version. So from a black primer, I would always usually default to a more stone-like colour. So I would probably just skip straight to dry brushing it with Dawnstone, and then bump up to possibly grey sear as your spot highlight on the dry brush. If you want to do a heavy grey, then spray it black. Heavy grey dry brush of Mechanicus Standard Grey, for example. Then skip Dawnstone and go to Administratum Grey as your spot highlight one. It's kind of how I paint like terrain and stuff like that. Would probably be how I do it normally. Do you have any alternative Nurgle paint schemes rather than the usual greens? So what I have is, should we just be really like, yeah, let's do this. So if we go like that, so if we go to here and go playlists, and we go to Maggotkin of Nurgle. Where are you? So there's that Maggotkin. So we have the Harbinger of Decay, the Pascoil Blight Lords, the Putrid Blight Kings, and Spoilpox Scrivener. They're in more of your traditional greens. However, the Putrid Blight Kings, these ones, look more... If we go to that. So that's a less traditional Nurgle green. But of course we have the armour as well, being the dark armour. There's the Harbinger of Decay. There's loads of greens on here. We also have to watch a advert from Secret Lab Titan Evo. Thank you. Skip that. And let's just go back to here. So there we go. So on here, you've got the sort of darkish green, you've got this kind of mid-green, you've got this kind of yellowy grey, and you've got that kind of really sickly green there on the elbow. I need to update this one because I need to put the Beasts of Chaos, Beasts of Nurgle in there. But if we go and find Death Guard, so in this video, for example, it's the Poxwalkers, and there's loads of different Nurgle schemes basically going on in here on how to paint Poxwalkers, which might help. That can then be applied to Plague Bearers and Putrid Blight Kings and Pascoil Blight Lords and all that kind of thing as well. That might help. A lot of green, though. A lot of green. If that helps. Cool. Why does my paint rub off? I have primed. Goddess shiny boots have black edges now. So sometimes it can be that you've got a bit of oil or like moisture on your fingers. It's worth just something that might help is using a moisturizer on your hands to try and deal with slightly more oily skin instead of handling your when handling your models. Or as Dan says there, wear gloves can also help with handling it. That's the one-time expense. I have really dry skin, so I can like pick up models like that. I can just throw them on the floor as well. I can pick up models and I don't rub the paint off with my fingers, which is quite a nice natural advantage that I have, courtesy of having dry hands. I now need to go and rescue an Arcanaut company from the floor. It's quite a way under there. Hang on. Be right back in 1 second. Rescued. Josh is a salesman for GW on the DL. He's a secret pusher with all these guides. Well, I mean, sort of. I'm not a secret salesman for them. I'm just somebody who uses their products and shows you how to paint with their products. If you choose to buy them and follow them, that would be great. This is why it'd be really nice to have an affiliate link to Games Workshop, but we don't have them. That's not what they do, unfortunately. He's going down on us. Yeah. It's just a thank you for all the gifted memberships. How do I join the Discord? It should be in your perks. If you go to the what's it called? If you go to the channel page, youtube.com/Warhipster, it should say, as a member, see your perks, and there should be a link there. If not, you can go into the community tab on the channel page, and I recently posted a link in there, a refresher of the link, so you can click on that link to join through the Discord there. You found it, thanks. Good. Star Pilot, thoughts on the Hedonites rules for 4th Ed? Do you know, I haven't actually looked at them, so do you know what we should do live? I'm going to break my new... because you've gifted so many memberships today, Star Pilot, and you brought Liam's community over, I'm going to look at my first faction focus. I don't normally look at these, because I don't want to get, no, zoom out. There we go. So let's have a look at the Slaanesh, Hedonites of Slaanesh rules. Slaanesh is the most beguiling of the Chaos Gods. His power comes from temptation and excess, and he promises a supreme satisfaction kept tantalizingly, maddeningly out of reach, so as to drive worshippers to further heights of depravity. So Slaanesh edges people. Great. Unlike his brothers, Slaanesh does not reside in the realms of chaos. His throne in the 6 circles of seduction lies vacant, for the Dark Prince is imprisoned in a twilight subrealm between Hish and Ulgu, known as Ulgish. The hidden gloaming. How he got there is no mystery, but a plan enacted in vengeance. Slaanesh has always savoured the exquisite perfection of elven spirits, and when the world that was came to an end, the Dark Prince gorged himself on elf souls, becoming more powerful than ever before. In the Age of Myth, the elven gods Teclis, Tyrion, and Malarion, along with the sorceress Marathi, formed a truce, using their own souls to tempt Slaanesh into a trap, binding him with unbreakable chains formed with a paradoxical blend of light and dark magic. Though he is caught in this hidden pocket of existence, lost to his followers and invisible to his fellow Chaos Gods, Slaanesh's influence is still felt keenly throughout the mortal realms. He draws his power from that most mortal of afflictions, excess. Whether that be a gourmand's quest to taste the most extravagant delicacies, an artist's drive to create a sublime work, or a duelist's desire for perfect form. Though their master is sealed away in a prison beyond reach, the Hedonites of Slaanesh do not rest, and while mortals are still compromised by their emotions, the Dark Prince will slowly grow in power. He has worked tirelessly for centuries to loosen the fetters that hold him at bay. Marathi Kane unwittingly accelerated this process in her pursuit of apotheosis, releasing the twin demons Sinessa and Dexessa when she dived into Slaanesh's gut for more elven souls. The pair are living shards of their patron, and they roam the realms, laying the groundwork for his return. Draped in fine silks and covered in jewelled armour, Hedonites prefer to give battle as carnivals of carnality. Lords of pain and hubris command their Cyberite followers with sneering arrogance, while Blissbarb archers scamper with unnatural grace as they fire volleys of arrows smeared with poison, and slick-blade cavalry lope across the battlefield with speed that defies comprehension. Champions of the Dark Prince like Sigvald and Glutos or Skollion sometimes grace the Cyberite hosts with their presence as they attempt to curry favour with their god. Where the Hedonites of Slaanesh spill blood and tempt their enemies to join them, the walls of reality erode and the demons coil out from the realm of chaos. Captivating demonettes promise an eternity of pleasure in excess, even as they slice their prey to ribbons. Great chariots scything through whole regiments with their elegantly bladed wheels, their presence and profligate debauchery transform the field into a phantasmagorical paradise, an agonizing prelude to the carnival of ecstasy and violence that Slaanesh will usher in when he finally breaks loose from his impossible prison. These sentences are not easy to read. Battle traits. The Hedonites of Slaanesh do not engage in half measures during war. Each battle round is an opportunity to unleash an excess of depravity, an offering of pain and predation to their unholy patron. Not Patreon. Battle traits. Hedonites of Slaanesh armies can use the following abilities. Start of battle round. An excess of depravity. Declare. Pick up to 3 friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units to be the targets. Effect. The targets have the euphoric keyword for the rest of the battle round. In addition, for each friendly unit you pick, give your opponent 1 temptation dice. Your opponent can use 1 temptation dice to replace 1 wound roll, 1 save roll, 1 ward roll, or 1 run roll for a unit in their army with a 6, or they can use 2 temptation dice to replace 2 of the dice in charge roll for a unit in their army with 2 6s. Each time your opponent uses a temptation dice, they must roll it. On a 1 to 2, inflict D3 mortal damage on the unit for which the roll was replaced, immediately after the ability used by that unit has been resolved. At the end of the battle round, any temptation dice that have not been used are lost. Euphoric Killers. Effect. While a friendly unit has the euphoric keyword, that unit's weapons have crit 2 hits. That's pretty good. This unit can use a run ability and still use shoot and or charge abilities later in the turn. That is pretty good. So 3 friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units to be the target. Okay. So what I'm sensing here, without knowing what the battle formations do, we'll have a look in the battle formations in a minute, is that you might want to run big blobs of really tough infantry. Because everything's now got a 3-inch engagement range, so taking them in 10s or 20s, if you can, is genuinely a good thing to do. The ability turns 3 of your units into euphoric killers, losing their minds in a frenzy of slaughter and powerful bonuses. And also, like, yes, you're giving your opponent a possibility of saving a wound or, you know, a hit roll or whatever. But there is that risk that they choose to use it and end up actually only worse off, which, depending on your opponent, they're not going to do this very often. So you just end up being euphoric with none of the downsides, if you see what I mean. Which is pretty good. I think that's pretty good. It's not bad. It's less complicated than it used to be, which is better. Oh, we only get 1. I'm sure there's 4. There usually is. Like 3 or 4, something like that. The Hedonites of Slaanesh enjoy many styles of warfare. Even suffering grave wounds in battle is seen as nothing but another pursuit of sensation for a depraved carnival of Cyberites, and their warriors descend into a frenzy as the ecstatic throngs suffer in battle. The ecstatic throngs. Effect. Add 1 to hit rolls for the friendly Cyberite infantry units while they are damaged, or if they have had any models slain in the same turn. I mean, that's okay. Depends on how good Cyberite infantry are, you know. Other battle formations revolve around Seeker Cavalry chasing with reckless devotion at breakneck speeds, slipping in and out of combat without reprise, or work to scrape down the winnowed walls of reality and supplement their demonic hordes, or focus on egotistical champions whose reverent warriors claim objectives to honour their ever-perfect masters. So Seeker Cavalry, plus this, is very strong. It's very good. Depending on how good Seeker Cavalry are. Arcana and incantations. Wizards devoted to Slaanesh practice the law of extravagance, weaponizing their own emotions and those of their foe. To great effect, with sadistic spite, they can goad their euphoric allies into acts of indescribable carnage. Sadistic spite. Declare. Pick a friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh wizards to cast a spell. Pick a visible friendly euphoric unit to be the target, then make a casting roll of 2d6. The target's melee weapons have crit mortal instead of crit 2 hits for the rest of the battle round. That's pretty tasty. That's pretty tasty indeed. The most bellicose of... Oh, we're just going to see Shalaxi Hellbane then here, aren't we? 16 health. 4+ save. A 5+ ward down there. It's a wizard 2. It's a War Master, so has to be your Warlord. Soul Piercer, 6 attacks, 2+3+, 2 rend, damage 3, anti-hero, +1 rend, so 3 rend. That makes Shalaxi Hellbane very good against like hero monsters. That makes it very, very good. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for combat attacks that target this unit. Yep. Make a casting roll of 2d6 for the rest of the turn. Add 1 to wound rolls with this unit's attacks that target enemy heroes, so wounding on 2s. Add 1 to save rolls for attacks made by enemy heroes that target this unit. It's very good. Shalaxi Hellbane might be able to go toe-to-toe with things like Krondys and Karazai. Because they're hero dragons, right? Especially if they're pumping out 2s, rend 2, damage rend 3, damage 3. It's a potential of 18 wounds that you can do there. Is that right? 6, 12, 18. Yeah. If this unit is not in combat, it can immediately move 2d6 inches. Once per turn, reaction, opponent declared a charge ability for a hero within 9 inches of this unit. Okay, so it's counter charge specifically for this against that hero. That's nice. Because heroes will want to avoid her, but they can't. Excess of violence. Once per battle your combat phase, pick a friendly non-hero Hedonites of Slaanesh unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit to be the target. Effect. The target can use 2 fight abilities this turn after the first is used. However, the target has strike last for the rest of the turn. This is always strong. It just, you have to hope that they survive or they have enough punch. But with the 3-inch combat range, just flat 3-inch combat range, it does make it better than it used to be as an ability. Fiends, what do you do? Subtract 1 from casting rolls and unbinding rolls for wizards while they're 12 inches. Only have a maximum score of 1. Roll a dice on a 4+ the target. Okay, so that's now back. Not that it ever, I don't think it left in AOS, but it has gone in 40k. Combat with this target. Yeah, that's good. That's good. The Simbaresh Twin Souls. So this is who you're looking at, right? Cyberites. So 4 attacks each, 3+4+, rend 1, damage 1. It's okay. Ward of 5+ if it didn't charge. That's not that great. If this unit did not charge this turn, subtract 1 from the attack's characteristic of melee weapons used by enemy units. That's pretty strong. Okay, yeah. Okay, D3 damage points to the target, then pick one of the following and add 1 to wound rolls for the target's combat attacks. Yeah. Okay, overall, I think it's pretty good. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. I like that. Any plans for Callus and Toll? Yes, Procrastinator. I do have plans to do it. They're primed, they're built, they're primed, they're ready to go. I'm just having to get through a bunch of stuff before we get there, unfortunately. 10 damage points. My head should be 6 or less health. I will die on this silly hill. It's fine. We're allowed to disagree. I like it. I know not everybody does. I mean, look, as a snapshot as to what they do, this is pretty strong. So crit 2 hits. So crit 2 hits. As I understand it, right, when you get a unit that says crit something, it explains exactly what it means. Because this is a bit I get confused about sometimes looking at this, right? So, like, crit 2 hits means on a critical hit, it does 2 hits instead of 1. So when you have 4 attacks with these, and I don't know what the size of the unit of the Twin Souls is. What is the size of a unit of Twin Souls? Is it 10 or is it 5? Or is it 2? Simbaresh Twin Souls. It's unit 5. So what we should then check is they have the champion keyword. So one of them will have an extra attack. So 5 of them will do... what is it? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Plus 1 on the champion is 21 attacks. You're looking at probably proccing off 6, 12, 18, 3. So, but you're hitting on... Mathematically, you're hitting on 3s, right? So you're probably getting all close to 21 hits, probably 19 hits, just off of that alone. But if you can then change it to crit mortal, what was it? Was it a spell? Yes. So crit mortal means it will do mortal wounds on a critical hit to wound, on a critical roll to wound, is my understanding of how it works. Which is not bad. But you lose the 2 hits. But it depends. Like I said, we haven't seen what the rest of the range does. So the thing to find out, I guess, will be what things like the Myrmidesh do. Is the Myrmidesh, isn't it? The Painbringers, yeah, and the Bliss Barbs. Also, if the Slangors, they should have the mortal keyword as well. Maybe they won't. They might have the Cyberite keyword. We'll find out. But overall, yeah, I think that's pretty good. So, like I said, without knowing what the rest of the battle tome says for them to do, it's not bad. This is always the thing, though, right? With these previews, is if there's 4 battle formations and 3 of them work much better with the battle traits, then the preview is a bad preview. You see what I mean? Wargunner 28. Oh look, just proves AOS is better than 40k. New models without being leaked that look gorgeous. Honestly, if I was in charge of GW, I'd just fire the entire 40k team and start again. Oh, that's strong. I do think that 40k could do with just taking a little look at what AOS is doing and just going, okay, yeah, they've got a little bit more imagination. Because I think 40k is we've talked about this ad nauseum, I think, on the channel, but 40k has been around for a very, very long time, and it's never had an end times event. It came close to having an end times event that wasn't an end times event. It was supposed to be a new dawn for 40k, which was 8th edition, the fall of Cadia, the fracturing of Bael'tan, and the rise of the Primarch. That was going to be that was 40k's equivalent of an end times event. Cicatrix Maledictum supposed to completely change the 41st millennium, the face of the 41st millennium, and you know, we were going to be able to see lots of fascinating, interesting new things happen, and that nobody's safe. It was like the Game of Thronesing of 40k. That has since not transpired in the narrative, and because it's not happened in the narrative, it hasn't happened in the models. So what's happening currently, because they haven't had a end times event or an extinction level event where they've gotten rid of certain factions or just annihilated stuff, then what is always going to happen at this point is you'll end up in a stage where, especially when, I will point the finger at some people out there, got really mad at there being new models. Now the design studio is like, okay, fine, well, we'll do what you've always been asking for, which is to redesign the old models. So now what you have in 40k is they're basically rebooting it when it comes to the models, which is the Hollywood attitude to franchises and stuff like. And what you're getting now is really it's the wish list of Reddit. You know, people saying there needs to be updated Terminators. That's what you got. What you didn't get was, you know, Siegebreaker Gravis Marines. With, you know, Gravis Marines with huge breacher shields and seismic hammers. You didn't get that. What you got was redesigned Terminators. You know, a lot of people complain about, you know, the older resin sculpts of miniatures. Yeah, I get it. They're rubbish. They're rubbish to work with, especially the Finecast stuff. It's awful. It's horrible to work with. So that's what they're doing. And it's, you know, it's fine. That's where it's at. So it's grand sweeping changes in 40k in terms of the model range are not something that they're really doing now. Because there's not really any space for them to do it. And I don't like criticizing too much about their narrative direction, but at the same time, they need to come up with different ways of discovering new factions other than the warp storms have abated. See what I mean? Creatively, 40k now is where Warhammer Fantasy was in like 7th ed. Yeah, exactly. It still has the sales to back it up. It doesn't have to do anything particularly new. And like, it's not a criticism of the models that they've actually produced so far. The models they've produced so far for 40k have all been lovely models. They're just boring. They're not daring, let's say. It's very predictable. It's very predictable, is what I would say. And I talked about this live stream before, that I don't like them to be predictable. Didn't realise you were such a fan of t-shirt launchers. Well, I mean, that's the thing, Sean. The t-shirt launchers do look stupid, but at least it was something new. That's the thing. It's like, okay, cool. So yeah, Space Marines in particular is one of those things of, are the Terminators gorgeous? Yes. Are they lovely? Absolutely. Did it need to happen? 100%. Were they going to get rid of Terminators? No, they weren't, because Terminators are iconic. It'd be like them getting rid of Dreadnoughts. But at this point, I'm a little bit surprised they didn't just do a redesigned Rhino. You know what I mean? Or a redesigned Land Raider. Which would have been really funny if they had. Because it would have been like, well, why? What's the point? These ones were fine anyway. But yeah, no, it surprises me that it wasn't done. But that's the thing, is I think we can all sit here and we can look at the factions yet to come out and we can all predict what's going to happen for them. You know, we've talked about it at length about something like Blood Angels, for example. I think we're all fairly convinced that we know what's going to happen with Blood Angels. That they're going to get redesigned Sanguinary Guard and an upgrade sprue for the Death Company. Because we've also seen a slight curtailing of certain rules of things. Astra Militarum. New plastic versions of the Regimental Advisors. They've had their big update. So, you know, a new Master of Signals. An Astropath. Won't be a Primaris Psyker because we've already had that. Commissar's already done. Castellan's already done. Officer's Cadre. You know. Good evening, Cameron. I think there isn't as much design space with something like Space Marines versus AOS. I don't think we're going to get a Space Marine Armored Dragon, which you can in traditional fantasy, but it'd be cool. I see what you're saying, Paul. However, contextually, the jump between Indomitus and Dark Imperium was enormous. Do you see what I mean? If you take the Dark Imperium models and you take the Indomitus models, it's night and day. So there is space like that. It's a subtle update, right? But it is a cool update that you can do. And you can do stuff like, rather than just, you know, Terminator Captain, Terminator Librarian, Gravis Apothecary, Hellfire Dreadnought. I know it's a Ballistus Dreadnought, but it's a Hellfire Dreadnought from the olden days. And Space Marines with Flamers. And updated Terminators. And Jump Pack Marines. Do a little bit more than that. And the Stern Guard. The Stern Guard are just updated Stern Guard. I mean, the Stern Guard is a real classic case of really cool innovation on the Space Marines. But the Primaris ones are just like more of the same. I thought that the Stern Guard multi-part kit was nowhere near as impactful as the Blade Guard multi-part kit that came out afterwards. More Centurions, even though everyone else hates them. I'm bang up for some Primaris Centurions. A brand new Centurions kit. I'm fully there. I'm into it. A Space Marine in a Centurion suit that is in another suit, like a Dreadnought suit. How long do you think till we see new Judicators? Do you know? I don't know, J. Eccles. I don't know if we will get new Judicators. No, it's fine. Wargunner 28. It's all part of it, right? Yeah, it's all part of the conversation. Whereas when you then look at AOS, and there is a lot, as has been mentioned, there is a lot more design space for them to do whatever the hell they want. But also, because it's so early in Age of Sigmar, it's only like 10 years old, something like that. It's only like 10 years old, something like that. There's realms we haven't even discovered yet. We haven't been to Hish at all. Not Hish, Ulgu. We've been to Hish. But we haven't been to Ulgu at all. So who knows what's there. You know, there's all of Malarian's lot that are yet to appear. As well as the other denizens of Ulgu. We've not really spent a whole lot of time in Shamon. We've been there, but not spent too much time there. We spent a lot of time in Akshi and Gyron. So yeah, there's a lot of potential in Age of Sigmar to just do crazy stuff. And in 40k there is less of it. And I think because there's less of a taste for new stuff and there's more of a taste for redesign. So like, I can't possibly predict what the heck is going to happen for Age of Sigmar. You know, it's impossible to kind of say what's going to get a refresh, what's going to get new stuff. I don't know. Maybe the Fire Slayers will get augmented. Maybe look to what kind of really happened in first edition and look at those. Maybe the Blades of Khorne will finally get a really cool re-look at stuff. The Ogre War Tribes, maybe they'll get a refresh. Who can say? At the moment, we can only deal in Skaven and Stormcast, and we always know Stormcast are going to get new stuff. But yeah, you know, it's one of those things. It's genuinely interesting though. Like, we shall see. We shall see what will happen. Because there's a lot of cool stuff that could happen. Like Grey Knights, I saw Escape said Grey Knights are going to lose their psychic powers and anti-demon things. Oh wait, that's already happened. Well, I mean, this is the thing, right, with Grey Knights. Grey Knights are one of the factions right now where it's actually there's two ways it can go. When the Grey Knights preview comes, what's their new model going to be? Are they going to get a full update? So are there, you know, Strike Marines and all that kind of thing going to be a new kit? Or is it going to be a plastic version of Kaldor Drago? I would guess that what Grey Knights will get is a plastic version of Kaldor Drago, and that'll be it. But this is the addition of Terminators. Maybe there will be some new Grey Knight Terminators. But what you don't want is an upgrade sprue for the current set of Terminators, because Grey Knight Terminators are a little bit more lithe, a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more a little bit more interesting. Even better, a new plastic librarian in Terminator armor. Very useful. New baby carrier? Yeah, it's possible. I don't think there'll be a new Dread Knight, but Grey Knights and Deathwatch all get rolled into Agents of the Imperium. I mean, it'd be an interesting vibe for them to do. But like, what did Deathwatch get? A new watch captain? A new named watch captain? A redesigned Artemis? And that's it? You know, it's hard. It's a tough one. I love 40k. I really do. But at the moment, it's not the one for me at all. Age of Sigmar, man. It's just... The rules look incredible. The game looks fantastic. Spearhead looks just to be orders of magnitude better than anything that I've ever seen from Games Workshop. I genuinely think it could potentially be the best thing they've ever made. And, you know, we will find out. We will find out. Who can say? You know, there's a lot of things that could happen, and not a lot that we know will happen. The only thing we do know is that Skaventide goes on pre-order on the 29th of June. Because they previewed that the other day. And it's very exciting. What did you think of the new rat thing? I liked it, Captain Manrings. I like it a lot. I think it's pretty cool. I'll show you guys again these things because they're pretty sick. This guy. Here it is. Should we open the image in a new tab so we can go have a real close look at it? Having just done the what they called Accursed Cultist Torments, I can see lots of cool stuff going on in here. It does look like some sort of horror out of the warp. Which is why it kind of makes me laugh that, again, sorry to compare 40k and Age of Sigmar, but this is coming for the Skaven. Chaos Space Marine's got a new jump pack lord and a new lord on foot. And I'm not saying that Skaven should be in the 41st millennium, but this is what Skaven getting. One of many things for the Skaven. Chaos Space Marines got 2 lords. So it's like, you know, it's fine. I think it's very cool. Oh, that's going to be fun. Triangle pattern on the bottom of the clothes. Lovely. Love to see it. The problem with 40k is not enough dwarves. More dwarves is always the answer. You'll be very pleased, Billy Ostrander, if we go over to this camera, and I just minimize this for a moment. Dwarfs incoming. So I've been working on this today. This is the Ailsling. Drecky Flint's ship. Endrin Riggers. All coming soon. Spearhead for these guys. And of course, the Arcanaut Company. Lots of dwarves. Videos channel, thank you very much for the $100. Yes, more dwarves. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Did you already paint Drecky Flint? Yes, I did. Here you go. There's Drecky. So this is what I'm doing with the Spearhead. So the Spearhead actually contains a the Spearhead contains an admiral. But I'm using Drecky Flint instead. Plus these 10 Arcanaut Company. There we go. Then we have the Endrin Riggers. There they are. And then finally we have this guy that just fell off its base. I might have to just glue it in. There we go. Oh no, it will all be black rims, don't worry. But thank you very much, PD Ostrander. That is incredibly kind of you. Thank you very, very much for the $100. There's a massive donation. I do also have Grom Brindle, so I'll get him painted up very soon. What sub-faction are those? They're technically Barak Mornar. So Barak Mornar is normally a little bit darker than this, but Drekkie Flint is this kind of mid-blue here. So I've painted them to be Barak Mornar, this version of the blue. But there we go. Many dwarfs. All the dwarfs. All the dwards. The dwardin come. And then I need to buy... What's it called? I need to buy a unit of Volkite Berserkers to have all the stuff for Spearhead Fire Slayers. Good night, Escape. I do recommend alternative support for the frigate if you intend for it to be more of a shelf piece. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to... I might use a little bit... I just might stick a little bit of blue tack in it, maybe. I don't know. Did you see my Crondis basing question? I don't have Basilicanum Grey. Any alternatives you recommend? Yeah, Dawnstone. Throw Dawnstone on it. Shade it with Null Oil. Dry brush it. That'll work. Josh, do you want to see some Chaos Knights War Dogs for this final month's Tale of Many Warhipsters too? Yes, Plops of Corn. I do. Heading home to remodel the studio. Have a lovely evening. Have a lovely evening yourself, Travis Woodside. What faction are you most looking forward to playing in 4th edition? Probably the Stormcast Eternals. Because they're my favourites, and I love my Stormcast. Guys, I've just noticed 200 likes on the stream. That's unbelievable. You should be really proud of yourselves. That makes this the most liked live stream whilst live that wasn't a preview stream. That makes this one of the best streams we've ever had. We've also had 37 new members. We've also had a massive $100 donation from PD Ostrander as well. This is incredible. You guys are amazing. So I brought a Seraphon Spearhead, but we're thinking Warcry for it primarily. How does Spearhead rules compare to full AOS versus Warcry? So the Spearhead rules are basically full AOS, but without any of the complicated stuff, basically. So there's an article. Let me find it, and then I'll show you. Oh. Zoom out. That's a little bit too close for my comfort. There we go. Modular rules. There it is. We go back to this and then turn this on. So, how Spearhead is going to work. You can see it here. Well, firstly, the core rules are moving, fighting, shooting, unit coherency, and objectives. That's the core rules of the game. Spearhead uses the core rules of the game. So Spearhead is going to be AOS in its most simplistic form. What Spearhead does have is it has its own dedicated set of cards, its own dedicated board, and its own sort of dedicated terrain. So Spearhead will be really easy to learn because you don't have to worry about commands, terrain, magic, army composition, command models, and battle tactics. You also don't have to worry about seasonal rules, points, General's Handbook stuff, match play restrictions. You don't have to worry about any of that because it's just buy the Spearhead, play Spearhead, use the core rules to play Spearhead. Right? Having played Spearhead myself, it's fast, it's frenetic, it's frantic, it's intense, it's cool, it's great. Which is some of the things that Warcry. So Warcry is the same. Warcry is fast. It's fast paced. It's frantic. There's a lot less shooting in Warcry. Essentially, it's fast and furious. It is. It's all about family. So your Spearhead is going to be great. Trust me. Warcry is a very different game. You know, it has its own dedicated rule system with a bunch of this stuff in there, right? So the way you do damage, the way you connect wounds, the way you move, the way you, all this kind of thing, it is specifically different. What Spearhead is it's the core rules of AOS with none of the guff. But Warcry is really, really, really cool. Will everything I need be in the Skaventide box? Yes! So the Skaventide box will contain Fire and Jade, I think is what it's called, which is the Spearhead book, which that book also will contain all of the rules for every faction in Spearhead. So you won't have to, like, buy a Seraphon. You won't have to buy a Seraphon specific Spearhead book. It's all in the Fire and Jade book, which is in the box, which is kind of unprecedented because, you know. Could someone gift me a member just so you can miss and Warhipster can get more members unintentionally? I mean, Wargunner28 is asking. You won't get dice. No, you don't get dice in the Skaventide box, which, let's be frank, is bad. That's my criticism of the box without having the box yet. Because it contains everything you need to play apart from the bloody dice. It has a range ruler in it. It has a mat, has terrain, has all the rules, has 2 spearheads, the Stormcast, and it has the Skaven in it as well. But it doesn't have any dice. Asmodeus has gifted one of the finest Warhipster memberships. Thank you very much, Asmodeus. That's very kind of you. How much is that box going to be? Right, so we don't know the exact price of it. However, what we can do is we can go here and scroll to... Let's go to the trailer. No, they don't have the competition open anymore. Where is it? There was a terms and conditions thing on the thing, on the competition to win it, which must be over now then. What happens if we do this? I think what we looked at, if I remember correctly, is that it was I think it was 160 quid, wasn't it? £160. from Games Workshop. Let's bear that in mind. Oh, the subscriber count is broken. There we go. Which, if you buy it from your friendly local gaming store at their usual minus 10% discount, is 144. It's free if you're brave enough. Yes. Not that I would argue. Not that I would. No. Not that I would. No. Show of hands, who of you are short on dice? Me. I'm short on dice. I'm short on Skaventide dice. I'm short on Skaventide as well. And pre-order is June 29th, yeah. So it should be around a number of people's paydays. I think I'm gonna buy 1 or 2 boxes. Because I'd like to do a giveaway, really. I'd like to try and buy somebody a Skaventide box. Maybe we'll make that the prize of Do we make that the prize of Tale of Many Warhipsters? A box of Skaventide? Maybe we make that the final. Maybe we make that the final bar. Maybe we make that the final giveaway. I don't know. We'll see. It doesn't really time out ideally. I don't know how much. I don't know how their stock's going to do with Skaventide, because this is always the question with Age of Sigmar. Dominion, they made tons of copies of Dominion, and it was still on shelf. I mean, I saw. Probably 20 boxes. Just give it to James. He has spent enough on your channel. James, do you want a copy of Skaventide? Do you want to win a copy of Skaventide? I think they'll probably make as many copies of Skaventide as they did of Leviathan. So I don't think it will be hard to get your hands on a copy of it. So 10, yeah. Just make the 10 copies. Make 10 copies, give it all to Instagrammers. Skaventide's here. Do you think GW should go made to order so everyone gets a chance to own something instead of the scalpers always buying everything up and selling for stupid money? I do, yes. At the same time, I think what Games Workshop should work on and always be working on, right? You can't just make... It's the same with like anti-cheats, like Call of Duty with Ricochet, right? You can't just install an anti-cheat system or an anti-scalper system or an anti-bot system and expect it to just be fine from that point onwards. You have to rigorously look after it. You have to keep updating it with more and more. You have to really concentrate on making sure that you're stopping people from being able to exploit gaps, exploit gaps within your system for pre-order. That way, you are protecting consumers from the scalpers, and James is going to give away a copy of Skaventide. We're all just going to get loads of copies of Skaventide and just give them away. More importantly, when is Cursed City coming back? I thought it was back. I thought you could get it now. Yeah, you can. It's available on the Games Workshop website. Or at least it says add to cart. Just limit to one per person or something, or if you buy too many, they just send you a little box of actual rats. Yeah, I mean, look, what doesn't help with this whole thing is some trade accounts. Okay, what friendly local gaming stores need to stop doing, and it's not all of them, but what some of them need to stop doing it is promising that they're going to get 1,000 copies, and then Games Workshop says your allocation is 200. So then those stores then disappoint 800 people by saying, "Oh, we're only getting this many." So it needs to be much better, much better in that respect, because there is a degree of that also happens. It's like, well, don't promise it to everybody, you know. So yeah, I get made to order, but then the problem with made to order is, if they do that, then I think the solution to that is to open a specific factory that makes to order all the stuff to be able to sit there and just print copies. More importantly, when is Battlefleet Gothic coming back? That's a good question. It needs to happen. It needs to happen this year. I would guess maybe it'll happen next year. I think Legions Imperialis needs to breathe for a little while longer before they continue doing it. Before they do another miniature, another epic scale game, as it were. Broad sort of talked about this. GW make big promises, then let the local gaming store down. Yeah, that is a criticism also of Games Workshop as well. Is that they need to that sometimes with Games Workshop, the left hand doesn't seem to know what the right hand is doing. So sometimes trade accounts will be promised you're going to get 400 copies, but there is a degree of there's two different types of things that happen, right? It's just like, because I think what some local gaming stores want is they want to be able to guarantee that they're going to shift the stock, because you don't want to be sat there with dead stock of something that you know is not going to sell. So they take lists of everybody they're going to. Some places will take lists of places that they're going to sell the box to, and that list gets really long, and then they go back and they say, okay, yes, we'd like 600, and Games Workshop says, no, your allocation was 400. And then sometimes they go, actually, your allocation is 200, and so on and so forth. So there is a case of, yeah, there is a lot of... I think without being in the room for all of those conversations, there's always going to be a bit of a misinformation of he said, she said. You know what I mean? Well done, Timo. Did you enjoy it? It's not. It's not. It's not that they promise to have 1,000 on their shelves. Is that sometimes they ask for. I've had this. I've had this colloquially told to me by both sides of the aisle, and both sides of the aisle claim a complete reverse of what the other one says. So it's like, okay, I don't know which one to trust. You know. Because no one's going to want to admit fault, right? Because the person who suffers at the end of the day is the consumer. Nobody wants to upset your consumers because you want the consumers to keep coming back. But like I said, I've heard it from both. They promised us this and they sent us this. I've also said I've also heard they asked for this and we told them they're not getting that. You know. Nobody's at fault except that everyone is at fault. Exactly. The first run goes to influencers. Now, Splitfire Gaming. Yeah. That's exactly it. So I'm new, only started playing/collecting in March, never been around when a big release happens. How do you recommend trying to get a Skaventide box pre-order or just show up on day one? So usually, the most convenient way is to pre-order it online and then not think about it for 2 weeks until it finally turns up at your door. What I would just recommend is if you have got a friendly local gaming store, is I would I would just recommend making sure that you're online wherever you are in the world, whatever time it's due to go live, what time the new product goes live. So in the UK, product goes live at 10 a.m. If you have a friendly local gaming store, you can tell them you want one. They might have a big long list of stuff that they might not be able to fulfill, depending on whose fault it is. We don't know, but it is always going to be the case that retail stores that have a retail space, that have an actual place on the high street, not e-commerce. So, Element, Firestorm, Games Workshop, obviously, they will always keep product back to put on the store on the shelves because you want to pull people into your store, right? So pre-orders will go live at 10 a.m. on the 29th. They will also be there at opening at 10 a.m., which is when they're allowed to sell things, on the 13th. Is that right? That's 2 weeks. I don't think it's going to. I think as Dan says, I don't think the box set is going to be difficult to get. I think it'd be pretty easy to get hold of one. Where it might be more difficult is if you have if your local store is something like the Hereford Model Shop. They might get 10. But it depends where you are in the world, what time product goes live. I don't know for sure. I think it's usually at 10 a.m. local time. So, West Coast would be 8 hours ahead, right? So that would be, what, 3 or 4 in the afternoon? Something like that? Is that right? Have I got that right? 10 a.m., 8 hours. That's 6 o'clock, isn't it? I'm currently painting a warband for Frostgrave. Have you tried it? No, I haven't tried Frostgrave. Are you having fun with it? I'm always interested to hear how other people are getting on with other stuff. Pre-orders go live at 10 AM for you. Pacific Coast is West Coast, right? I think it usually is just 10 AM is local time. Yeah, West Coast, yeah. My world clock is so bad. Where are we? Yeah, so it's 2:30 in LA right now. Are there different coloured squigs other than red/orange? Yeah, there are, man. 100%. Let me just pull some up for you. So yeah, like blue, yellow, green. Depends on the colour. I think generally people steer away from doing. I haven't seen many green squigs because usually the goblins are green. But yeah, I mean you can paint them any colour really. There's a lot of blue ones on Google. They don't tend to do many different coloured ones. Oh God, can't spell now. Games Workshop. Gloomspite tickets. So yeah, the Boingrot riders, they've painted them all with red. But yeah, I mean you can paint them any colour really. I'm trying to think of where I've seen it. Probably a tedious question you've heard before, but any interest in painting models from other games just as showpieces? Would love to see your take on something like Frank Horrigan from Fallout tabletop game. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's time spent painting something that I paint so many models that I don't sit and look at them. I don't, and it's bad. I don't really spend a lot of time just sitting and looking at this cupboard, for example. So display pieces aren't something that I really like to do. So then when it comes to the games, it's a case of I want to do them. I do. But what I need is the impetus to do them so that I can actually play them with other people. Because if I take a week out to paint, I don't know. I mean, Frostgrave. We're talking about Frostgrave, right? If I take a week out to paint Frostgrave minis and no one wants to play them with me, then it was a week I spent a lot of time and effort on to not be able to use them for their intended purpose, if you see what I mean. And 40k too. Yeah. I mean, there's the shark squig type thing. Lore-wise, there are different coloured squigs. I think so. Let's have a look. I mean, it all depends. I mean, you can make any justification, right, as to why things are the way they are. So yeah, the Squigosaur that Mozrog rides. That's a different coloured squig. It's a big grey one. The Squigoth. That's another squig. That's giant and green. Yeah, I don't think there's any particular... Yeah, I think it was Dan. Unless you're talking about the bear resin. Whereas I think so, like it's things like so like Kroot, for example. The reason Kroot have different coloured skins is because of, one, their environment, two, the things that they've eaten, and three, what the adaptation and the evolution line has been as part of their sphere. So if the Kroot ancestors had eaten a lot of Leviathan Terminators, for example, their skin would probably be more purple. I don't see why you couldn't say the same thing for like squigs and stuff. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I just want to say a massive thank you for hanging out with me tonight. 230 likes on the stream is incredible. It's amazing. We've had 38 new members. We've obviously had that wonderful $100 super chat from PD Ostrander. It's been incredible tonight. Our peak concurrence at one point, we had 260 people here watching on a Wednesday, which is just unbelievable. So I really do just want to say a massive thank you to everybody for hanging out with me tonight. I hope you have been entertained. I hope you have been informed. I hope you have enjoyed your time here with me tonight. Thank you for choosing Warhipster as your entertainment for the past 2 hours and 6 minutes, or however long we've been live. I just want to say eki patang. We are the knights who say ni. Thank you. A really, really great stream. I really enjoyed it tonight. I have a Caradron Overlord's frigate to finish for all you wonderful people out there. You know, Project Spearhead continues in abundance. So we've got to get the Caradron Overlords finished. So that is what I'm going to go off and do now. Well, actually, what I am going to go and do is I am going to go and use the bathroom as well. But don't know why I'm telling you this. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I'm going to raise to you the hand of farewell. I will be back tomorrow with a painting video. I don't know what it's going to be, but there's like 8 to choose from, and I'm going to try and get 2 edited tomorrow, so we'll get an early access video for you fellas in the members and Patreons. So massive thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I'll see you all very soon in the next one. I love you all very much. You are the greatest. and best community in the world ever. Thank you. Cruel Boys Big Bow. Yes, we can get that edited tomorrow. I might even put that one up as early access. Just for you, Cameron. There we go. See you later, guys. Bye. Bye. Bye for now. Bye. Bye.